Hey guys, welcome to the Friday edition of The Daily Friend. I have a very special panel with me today, but before I get to that, remember you can find The Daily Friend Show on YouTube, both under the IRR's YouTube page and of course under the Big Daddy Liberty page. You can also find the writing, the analysis and the works of all our colleagues on the Daily Friend website at dailyfriend.co.za. Now, as I said, I'm not alone in the studio this morning. I have a very accomplished panel of colleagues here. Morris, good morning, sir. How are you doing?
Good morning, Sikhle.
Thanks for being here. I've got Sarah Gon, of course, our chief editor at the Daily Friend. Good morning.
Hi, morning.
Tutugani, a new face for us, brother. Good morning. Tutugani is one of the senior researchers and analysts at the Center for Risk Analysis. Did I get that right?
Yeah, morning, Sikhle.
Good morning. Guys, remember, please speak into the mic and let's get this conversation going. Today, we're going to talk one thing, really. It's been on the lips of South Africans since Wednesday when the president made his announcement of his cabinet. And you can bet your bottom dollar that all the weekend papers will be, breaking this down, providing analysis. But hey, we're going to beat them to it by giving you that analysis right now. Guys, he picks a cabinet. In the run-up to the decision, we were told, this will be the New Dawn cabinet. This is going to be something avant-garde, different, small, lean, without the ideologues, without the people implicated in state capture and all the other nonsense we've seen in the past in this country. But was it really that cabinet, Marius?
Well, I don't know. I remember when Zuma was president, I saw during one of the protests against him signs saying, "I've seen better cabinets at Builders Warehouse." And I think perhaps this is the same. Yeah, I mean, and there have been some positive changes, but I mean, not many. I mean, he got rid of the worst people in the old cabinet, Batabili Dlamini, Nomvula Mokonyane, Mulisi Gigaba. And I mean, there's some appointments. Tito Mbowene's still there, and he's not too bad. Barbara Kvisi, she might do a decent job. But there's some ones that we need to be quite. Ronald Lamola at Justice is an interesting one. And also, I mean, you've also got to ask why he got rid of guys like Derek Hanekom, who seemed like a competent minister and really cared about his portfolio, and was also one of the few guys who actually spoke out publicly against Jacob Zuma and while he was president. So I don't know, it's difficult to, or we don't know what the president was thinking, but it seems to be quite muddled the way that he pointed people.
That's almost the theme of it, a mixed bag of things, and of course a long wait for the decision. We initially thought it was going to happen on Sunday, and then we were told by his spokesperson, no, the president is only going to make the announcement later in the week. He's still consulting. Who are the people he was consulting?
I'm not sure if he was consulting people so much as people were telling him what to consult about, because to me the bad sign was that we were all told it was going to be announced at 8:00 on Wednesday evening. 50 minutes later,
and that's 5:00.
5:00 minutes later, the president appears. He doesn't apologize, and that's probably because he's more flustered than anything else, because we ended up with what I would call a matzah pudding of a cabinet, with some very sinister overtones. And the sinister is, let me put it this way: the South African Communist Party is happy with the cabinet. We should be very, very afraid. And Ronald Lamola is the one person Morris has already mentioned. I'm very concerned about David Masondo, who seems to be incredibly bright and gifted, but he is pure Marxist-Leninist, and he is Tito Mbowene's 2RC. So literally, he's a sort of heartbeat away from running the Treasury, and for the rest, there's a stasis, and one of those areas of stasis that goes to the heart of where we go from here is that Angie Motshekga is still in education. And I think she's a well-meaning person, but it is an area of huge crisis. The rest, just from a point of view of the size of the cabinet, when you lose 11 out of 74 people, you haven't lost much. It doesn't matter how you've put it together and what you've mixed with whom. There's been, as far as I can see, no loss in actual cabinet portfolios. Yeah, and
there's a couple of topics you touch on here which I want us to sort of delve into. There is a serious concern from my side that this cabinet hasn't really seen the shaking off of the hardline ideologues, the guys who have been pushing, the sort of leftist, socialist type influences in policy making in this country. Worse yet, it seems to be that we continue in this country to have those sort of thinkers within the economic cluster in particular. Ibrahim Patel is still a trade and industry, or has been moved to trade and industry. Pravin Gordhan is
State-owned enterprises.
Public enterprise, that's right. And, Tito, for whatever people say, I know people are very optimistic about him, but to me, he's still an ideologue. I don't see the reformers forming a team which can advise the president around reforming the country's policies, moving it towards market-friendly policies, moving it towards deregulation, allowing the entrepreneur, allowing the individual, allowing business to do what it does best to provide the jobs. I just don't see that happening. You're a poor chap sitting in a shack in Mlazi. What hope do you have of this cabinet doing something about your lives, Morris?
I don't think there's much hope. I mean, as you say, there are no reformers in the cabinet that any of us can really see. And Ibrahim Patel taking over trade and industry, he's taking over from Rob Davies, but that's, I don't know, that's, yeah.
Tutukan, I'm going to bring you in on this because I think, you're with the Center for Risk Analysis and you guys deal in hard data, hard numbers, and not necessarily opinion. You guys provide proper analysis around what things should be. And we're talking about reform here, or what we perceive to be a lack of the signals for there being potentially reform. Yeah. Education is something Sarah was saying, I'll come back to. Education is the single most effective tool for empowering a nation, changing the prospects of individuals in any society. And we still have someone like Angie Motshekga coming back as the education minister, even though, in my view, the record of her tenure has not been one of the best insofar as outcomes. If I were to pose the question to you, Toots, around what sort of reform should we be expecting from this cabinet if it was serious about getting education right, which invariably has spin-offs, like dealing with unemployment, what sort of reforms should we be seeing from this cabinet?
Well, my particular interest really is in the education part, and Sarah beat me to it. She mentioned the whole story about, Angie Motshekga, I don't think is that much of an inspiration at this point. Because first of all, she's been around for more than 10 years, if I'm not mistaken. I think her first appointment was
under Zuma,
2009.
Yeah,
and one of the things that we've shown over the years, and we've gotten into trouble about this quite a bit from here and there. Only half of grade ones actually get to grade 12. So somewhere in between, especially at grade 10 level, grade 11, people start dropping out and so on. So only half of those get to grade 12, and even a smaller proportion manage to even get together a pass. And if you're looking at bachelor's passes, which is what enables people to get to university, that's about maybe 13% or so. And it's an even smaller proportion if you're thinking about who gets passes in maths and those hard science subjects.
The sort of subjects you need to build what politicians like talking about, the fourth industrial revolution, but it seems like we're not even getting the sort of math science passes that we need to actually facilitate a fourth industrial revolution in this country.
I just want to say one thing for Angie Motshekga.
So we'll come back to you just now. But
to her credit, she's one of the only ANC ministers who's spoken out against the trade unions. She's one of the only people who said SATU is one of the biggest problems in the education, in education, and that to her credit. But I mean, that's
but I mean, the funny thing for me is the time for politicians pontificating is over. We need. You need a cabinet which has a resolve, a steely resolve to actually address some of these impediments quite directly, including taking on alliance partners like Abosatu and Pop Crew and all these guys who basically have a hold, their tentacles in and the levers of government. But we were actually going down a very particular path here, which I want to sort of have us zoom in on again, is the sheer failure of getting the basics right and the metrics pointing towards reform, pointing towards getting things right. And Toots, I'm going to come back to you on this one because I think it's actually kind of a key issue. I'm very worried about education. I'm very worried about, because of us not getting it right, the spin-offs on unemployment and the likes. Do you want to just finish your thought process on that?
Yeah, I mean, the unemployment problem is quite a broad one in the sense that also you're looking at how do you get people to start their own business.
Yes.
And from what I can see, I mean, personally, I'd like to think that someone who's, say, a plumber is much more likely to go down the route of starting a business than I am. So I think there's much need for us to focus also on that aspect of things, because we tend to harp on about, let's get a degree, but a degree in what? And are we not neglecting the technical side of things?
Sort of vocational skills, yeah. Yes. Guys, as we maybe look to whittle this conversation down, just two more things I want us to discuss. Cyril Ramaphosa is under a lot of pressure in this, administration. And it's not just pressure from groupings like us, who put out analysis, put out advice for them, and I know they do read it. Cyril, I hope you do watch this show. I can be ambitious, can't I? He's under a lot of pressure also from international rating agencies and also the international community investors. There's been this number touted around on social media. We lost 13 billion rand in investments when the Mabuza announcement was made.
I don't think he's under pressure from investors because people aren't putting their money here. The only people who is under pressure from the agencies. So investors investors don't have to put their money out. There are 190 countries in the world. They will go to the places where the investments are safe, where they'll make some money.
And that's the hard lesson, isn't it?
We think we're this exceptional country. In some ways we are, but every country is exceptional in its own way.
Absolutely. And you see this, just because you've just opened this can of worms quite nicely for me. We see this in our regional partners outcompeting us. Mauritius is doing really well at the moment. They are attracting the sort of FDI that I argue should be coming here if we had the same or similar type policies. Botswana and Namibia, our neighbors, are doing very, very well.
Except for Zim.
Except for Zim, exactly. So, and that's the funny thing, right? It's this weird thing. We have neighbors who are doing what they should be doing, putting in place the sort of market-friendly policies, pro-growth policies, educated, empowered citizen policies that are seeing them reap the benefits in growth and a general rise in living standards. And then we have another neighbor who did the exact opposite, and we seem to be speaking again. They did that on the basis of hard ideologues who moved in a very sort of government control of everything, dirigist and statist and socialist policy.
It wasn't real socialism.
Oh no, the usual argument you get on social media.
It wasn't real authoritarianism.
But they look at it and they go, yeah, I think we can make that work. And that speaks to that weird exceptionalism that our politicians have in this country. Guys, I want to keep it on topic though. The final parting question, which I want thoughts from.
Can I just talk about the one very good appointment, which was Patricia de Lille.
Oh my goodness! How could I forget? Let's actually talk about that, because if I was a good voter, right? Good voter. If I was a voter for good, okay. Either way, this just sounds terrible.
Terrible name for party.
I would feel incredibly betrayed, because here's this lady who built her name supposedly as being a champion of fighting for good things.
But de Lille's always been like that. In 2006, she nearly kept the ANC in power in Cape Town with the ID. I mean, the DA managed to cobble together that 12-party or 11-party coalition or something, and then eventually the ID saw the writing on the wall. Then they joined the DA, and then the coalition was much more stable. But the ID was going to, I think it came down to a vote of a PAC guy. That was a one vote that gave the DA power. But if they'd voted with the ID and the ANC would have stayed in power. And they'd direct Cape Town for the 6 years they'd been in power down there. And Patricia de Lille would have been happy to keep them in power. But then she saw right on the wall, DAs, They're on the up. What happens? Suddenly she becomes a liberal. After having being a black nationalist under the PAC and all that, suddenly she's become a liberal. I mean, it's like does a 180. It's crazy.
I think the only party she hasn't sort of pinned her colours to is the EFF.
Yeah.
And she's been everywhere else.
Well, actually, she kind of has to an extent. I remember when the eruptions between her and the DA were
She went to
first,
Mandela's memorial.
she was very happy to cozy up to be seen with EFF people, and of course, EFF guys, smart as they are in terms of being quite cunning politically, used it. As is the case, I think now with the ANC is using it, because my concern, and I want to put this to you guys, is my concern is on the one hand, there's the betrayal to her voters, where these people voted for her to be a loud voice in Parliament, to fight for whatever their policy proposals. Just very quickly, Morris, whatever their policies were. Now she takes up a position as a minister in an ANC government. De facto, she is rolling out the ANC's manifesto. It's not the good manifesto. That sense of betrayal, Morris.
But maybe Cyril is finally playing a bit of 4D chess here. And looking towards 2021, where there'll probably be a couple of municipalities where it's very close between the ANC and the DA. And if Good is the kingmaker, then they'll give it to the ANC. But I mean, I don't see Good will be. I mean, they got 3% now in the election, and who knows? This could be pretty bad for.
Yeah, this might backfire really badly.
What's really intriguing about this is that usually when outsiders or opposition members have been asked to join the cabinet, invited to join the cabinet, it's been it's been deputy minister level, no higher.
Yeah,
Peter Mulder was the last one, I think.
Yeah,
and the lady from NFP.
I've got all
She was Deputy Minister of Science and Technology.
She wasn't there for half the time. She was like sick. It's really weird.
Yeah, but the thing is, one of the phrases I kept using was, you have the NDR, that's the route the ANC is going in. So we're looking socialist to communist.
Yep.
And then you have the demands that to actually make this economy work, you have to be free market, you have to open up to the world, you have to be, in other words, it's the polar opposite. How can you square that circle? The answer is you can't. And he didn't. And that's why we end up where we are. I'm just waiting for business to really see the light, because I think trying to talk it up just to talk up talk up the government in order to perhaps get things done. It's like always praising a child who needs to be crapped on sometimes.
Guys, as I said, let me pose this last question to you guys, and just allow each of you to give your final thoughts. I really want to segue back to the issue of reform, because it is the central topic around how we analyze this new cabinet and its effectiveness. Otherwise, it's just an issue of more of the same and the slide into the abyss, really. Top 3 things from each of you. I'll start with you, Tutugani, that you would want to see being a focus of this government if it is serious on reform. Top 3 things that you want to see.
Well, I'll stick to education still.
Yep.
My sense is that, I mean, you can't exactly view higher education and basic in separation.
Absolutely.
Whatever happens in basic education has got to flow into higher education. So we need to fix basic education, starting from ECD level, going up, and that will obviously have an impact on higher education. And to spill a little bit into your realm, Sarah, I think also government needs to create an environment in which businesses can be established and businesses can grow. So let's not have the kind of situation where government tries to control things, because this is where the problem also starts. You've got to create an environment in which government interferes as little as possible, but allows business to do most of the work.
Totally agree. I mean, and you echo what is my sentiment, which is my general belief that governments aren't good at running pretty much anything. You want the individual, the guy who is the risk taker, the innovator, the entrepreneur, to have the space, the freedom, and to be empowered to do what they do best, which is to innovate, create new services and products, and create opportunities and job opportunities. Sarah, last thoughts, top 3 things you want to see in the reform agenda, if there is to be one in this government.
I think I have to echo too on one thing I do see, and that is Ramaphosa has put an emphasis on early childhood development, which it's like going backwards for Christmas because we should have started with that 25 years ago and not at the end first. We need so much legislation got rid of, and that goes across almost every ministry in order to make it a country that locally people will invest in. Never mind overseas investments. You want local business to invest in. You've got to make it simpler. And of course that ties into the SOEs, and you've got a minister who has indicated there are going to be no retrenchments and no privatization. It has to go the other way around in order for them to be movement. And finally, of course, finance. And the problem is, and you hear it from the governor of the Reserve Bank all the time, that the limitations on whatever we do are structural. And I'd love to say, I'd like to say, obviously, finance and economics, trade is everything, but it doesn't seem to be anything.
Absolutely. As our resident economist at the CRA would say, it's I think he paraphrases one of the American presidents. It's about the economy, stupid. Ian Cruikshanks, who we will have on the show at some stage. Marius, final thoughts, reform agenda, top 3 things you want to see dealt with.
The government needs to create an environment where business create jobs. Second thing, the government needs to create an environment where business can create jobs. The third thing is the government needs to create an environment where business can create jobs.
Absolutely, lol. Well, with that being very clear, no, but I agree. I mean, let me be slightly specific in my final thoughts on this. When we talk about creating an environment, it's actually just stepping back. It's the idea that politicians should know their place, lol. I sound like a Southerner Democrat in America, the idea of the people knowing their place. But politicians really should know their place, which is to step out of the way and essentially facilitate an environment where, there is the rule of law, a society which is safe, where we have effective policing in this country, the administration of justice, and allowing individuals in the society to actually form the sort of contracts between themselves that foster innovation, that foster new services, that foster new products. And key to this is supporting the family and actually creating empowering, a new generation of South Africans who are very well educated and are skilled to be able to compete in the economy. This is the sort of things that I think I want to see when it comes to a reform agenda. Actual market-friendly, pro-liberty type policies where the politician is the least voice in your society and the entrepreneur, the individual, the family gets the most support. Now, you can find a lot of these ideas and all the things that we write and talk about at the Daily Friend website. That's www.dailyfriend.co.za. You can also check out the IRR website where we have a lot of our policies alternatives on there. So you can also empower yourself with, fresh, different ideas for when you have a Daily Friend moment at home, whether it's over the braai or, in the workplace. I want you as South Africans to be able to be articulate in painting an alternative vision for this country, which is pro-liberty and pro-freedom. With that being said, guys, remember to like, share, comment, and subscribe to the Daily Friend and any of our other shows on the platform, including the Big Liberty Show. And as always, I want to thank all my guests and my colleagues. Guys, thank you so much for joining us. You can support our work here at the Daily Friend at the Institute of Race Relations by becoming a friend of the IRR. You do that by SMSing your name, to 32823. An SMS will cost you R1, and terms and conditions do apply. But hey, maybe you don't like SMSs. You believe that you are part of the 4th Industrial Revolution and you'd like to find us online. Guys, it's quite simple. You can also sign up a monthly debit order of R90 on our website at www.irr.org.za/join. Guys, thank you so much for joining us on this Friday publication. Look out for the Daily Friend podcast, which we'll be recording right after this. Guys, enjoy the weekend. We'll see you next week.